given here? Cell tissue grade organization. Okay. For example, animals belong to phylum Cnidaria. Okay. C is silent there. Cnidaria. So what you will call it as Cnidaria, right? So flatworms. Okay. Now I will show you my PPT where you can see an animal belonging to this grade, cell grade. So let me share my PPT, students. Okay, so you can see here that cell tissue grade organization, right? Cell tissue grade organization means what? The animal is belonging to which phylum? Cnidaria. Flatworms are there, okay, which show tissue organ or grade organization. So in this type of organization, tissues are organized to form some organs. Okay. However, complete organ systems are not found. There are several examples. Some animals belonging to protoplasmic grade organization like amoeba and paramecium. Okay. Page number 64 in your textbook. Look at all the diagrams given over there. Amoeba is given, paramecium is given. Okay. Cellular grade organization, cycon is there. Okay. Then cell tissue grade organization, jellyfish. So in the PPT, you can see the jellyfish. I included only one picture, students. So here jellyfish is having what all things? Mouth. You have to draw and label it also. Intestine, gonads, okay, bell, tube, muscle ring, tentacle, oral arms. Okay, then tissue grade organization where you have planaria. Okay, planaria is belonging to tissue organ grade organization. So in this way we can we have studied now what? Grades of organization. Okay, that is the first criteria for new system of classification. Okay, then we are having the next one, that is how the body is, okay, arranged, like how much symmetry the body is having. Symmetry means what? Any of you, can you answer in the public chat? Okay, what do you mean by body symmetry, students? Okay, Kushi, parts. Okay, still I want some more answer. Structure. Okay, Manali, structure. Okay, any other answers? Shape of the body. Okay, Sahil, same from both sides. Very good. How similar parts. Very good, Kanchan. Now you are reaching near the answers. Okay, body symmetry. Symmetry means what? How equally the body is divided, right? So based on this, we are having asymmetrical body as well as radial symmetry and bilateral symmetry. These are the three types. Okay, so asymmetrical means what? Can you give some example of asymmetrical body? Any particular animal without any symmetry? Amoeba. Very good, Kanchan. So amoeba is an organism which can change the structure of body. Okay, we cannot make a particular shape for amoeba. So it belongs to what? Asymmetrical, right? Asymmetrical arrangement. So in such case, what? There is no imaginary axis we can draw on the body, right? So through which we can divide the body into two equal halves, right? So amoeba is there, paramecium is there, and some sponges also. Okay. Then there is radial symmetry. Can you give some example of radial symmetry? Very good, Sanskriti. Starfish, Siddesh, very good. Kushi. Okay, starfish. Starfish, if you will look at the picture of starfish, you will find that if you cut the organism along the central axis, that means not any plane, it will divide into two equal halves. Okay, we can divide the starfish into two equal halves. So in case of this animal, there are 5 different planes because, okay, 5 planes are there passing through the central axis through which we can get two equal halves, right? So in this way, we can divide the animal in two equal halves. So that's why we call it as radial symmetry. Now, what is bilateral symmetry? Along the radius, if you're dividing the animal, it is radial symmetry, right? Now, in bilateral symmetry, yes, human beings, fishes, very good. So, there are several examples, frogs, birds, human beings, insects. Now, in this type, what happens? There is only one such imaginary axis, okay? Imaginary axis of body through which we can divide the organism in two equal parts or two equal halves. Okay? So, like we human being, we can divide our body from the from only one axis, one imaginary axis. So we are belonging to what? Bilateral symmetrical body, right? So I hope you understood what is mean by body symmetry. Okay, next we are going to the germ cells. Okay, now you know there are two types of cells. Okay, Prem Hinduja is there who is telling your voice is breaking. I want to know from other students. Am I audible? Is my voice breaking? Okay, cells. Germ layers are there. This layer is diploblastic and triploblastic, right? So, page number 65 in your textbook. Okay, so you can see one diagram where they have shown the diploblastic and triploblastic cells, which contains dead layer, endoderm, ectoderm, and mesoderm, right? So in case of multicellular animals, what happens? Germ layers are formed during initial period of their development. Okay, embryo will develop and certain germ layers are formed and different tissues are also formed. So in some animals, only two germs layer will be formed, like endoderm and ectoderm. Okay, so like cnidarians, these all are the animals which are having only two germ layers. Okay, so in most of the remaining animals, how many layers are there? Three germ layers are there. Okay, so three germ layers are formed, like mesoderm is also formed along with endoderm and ectoderm. Okay, so I hope you understood what is meant by germ layers. Okay, so that is formed when? During the embryonic development. It means what? When the new organism will develop, the first stage, initial stage of the development of the organism. Then coming to the next type, fourth type, that is body cavity. Okay, cavity between the body and internal organs is called as body cavity, or you can also call it as coelom. Okay, so in case of multicellular organism, what happens during initial period of the embryonic development? Body cavity is formed from either mesoderm or gut. Okay, so such type of body cavity is present in animals of phylum Annelida. Now in Annelida you will find such animals. Okay, so what we can call such animals as eucolemate. Okay, eucolemate means what? The animals with true body cavity. They are having the true body cavity, right? So body cavity is absent. Okay, gut means what? The place through what you can say. Okay, Ria, wait 1 second. Let me finish it. So gut means what? It is actually the place through which the organism eats the food, right? So it is called as the gut of the animal, right? So such body cavity, okay, such animals, what we call eucolemate. Okay, eucolemate or animals with true body cavity. So body cavity is absent in case of animals from phylum Porifera, Cnidaria, and Platyhelminthes. So such animals are called eccolemate. Okay, in case of animals from phylum Aschelminthes, okay, they have body cavity, but in it is not formed by the above mentioned two ways. So what we call it as pseudocolemates. So pseudocolemates are there, eucolemates are there, and also eccolemate. Okay, so underline all the three words. Okay, so animal types as per the body cavity. Types of animals as per what? Body cavity, right? So that is about the coelom or body cavity. The next one is body segmentation. How the segments are there, how the body is divided. Okay, you know some of the animals are having small similar units. Such bodies, what we call it as segmented body. Okay, and each small unit, what we call it as segments. Like you might have seen a worm like earthworm. Okay, have you you all know how the earthworm looks like? Okay, there are many segments, many lines on its body. If you will go closer to the earthworm, you will find that segments are present in the body of earthworm. Okay, so it belongs to phylum Annelida. Very good, Sahil. So belong to what? Annelida. So that is called as body segmentation. Okay, so according to that, we are having different kingdoms also, kingdom of animals. We can classify the animals in different kingdoms, right? So I'm going to share my PPT to you students to show the different kingdoms and the animals with examples. Okay. Now here I'm going to start with phylum Porifera. Okay. That is phylum Porifera. So we can, with the help of this criteria, animals are classified in different kingdoms, like kingdom Animalia. Okay. So here in that first one is phylum Porifera. So you can see a cycon sponge in the PPT, okay, which is having an ostia, osculum, and collar cells, right? So phylum Porifera means what? The animals with simple body plan, and what we can also call it as sponges. So they are having many small pores in their body. Pores means what? Small holes are there. And what we call these holes or pores as ostia, which is in the lower part of the body. You can also refer your textbook page number 67 for the label diagram there. Ostia is shown over there and oscula is also shown. So these pores are called ostia and oscula. Okay, so these are aquatic animals, means what? They are living inside the water. Okay, and they are marine. Some are marine, some are living in the sea water, some are fresh water dwellers. And these animals are asymmetrical body, like we told. I gave the example of amoeba, paramecium. Similarly, sponges are also having asymmetrical body. So you have to write these characters, remember these characters of sponges. Okay, and these animals are having special types of cells called as what? Collar cells, right? So these animals are always attached to a substratum, hence they do not show any locomotion. That means what? They are always fixed in one particular place. Substratum can be a stone, can be the trunk of a aquatic plant. Okay, so a big stone can be taken as a substratum. Substratum means what? A support. Okay, so they are called, referred to as sedentary animals. That means what? Sedentary means what? The animal which cannot move from one place to another. It is always stuck to some particular place. Okay, so their body is supported by spicules. Spicules means what? They are you can say they are made up of calcium carbonate or silica. So there are many spicules in their body. Okay, and these animals feed upon small organisms. Okay, they taken in their body along with water. So along with water, small organisms will enter. That is their food. And water is taken through ostia. Ostia is also present, that will absorb the water, and it's given out. Water is given out means what? Thrown out from the body from oscula. So these organisms, how they reproduce? By budding. Okay, you know what is budding? You are done in your second chapter, right? Life processes. So asexual method of and bisexual method, both the ways they can reproduce. In their third chapter you studied, right? So besides, they have a good ability of regeneration. They can regenerate. Okay. So the example, cycon, spongia, bath sponge, then halonema and euplectella. So several examples they are given. Okay, that is about phylum Porifera. Next, we are coming to the phylum Coelenterata or Cnidaria. Now, here we are having Hydra. So, how the body of animal is cylindrical or umbrella-like. You can see the umbrella-like structure in the PPT, right? So, it is having the tentacles, mouth, testes, ovary, body, and new bud. Okay, all these are present. Okay. So, how the body of these animals are cylindrical and umbrella-like, right? So, and if it is cylindrical, it is called as what? Polyp. And if it is umbrella-like, what we call it as medusa. Okay. So most of these animals are marine. That means what? You can find hydra in the sea water only. But very few species of hydra you can find in fresh water like ponds, rivers, lakes, etc. Right? And these animals, how their symmetry is, they are radially symmetrical, diploblastic. Diploblastic just now explained, endosperm and ectosperm. Okay, both the what you can say, endoderm and ectoderm. Sorry, endoderm and ectoderm. Both the layers of germs layers will be present. So that is also one of the characteristic, right? And nidoblast bears tentacles. Tentacles are also present around the mouth. Tentacles are for what? They can capture the food or prey. Okay, prey means what? The food, and they can take the food in there. Using the tentacles, they can catch the prey or catch the food. Whereas nidoblasts, how they inject, how they take the food, they inject the toxin in the body of prey. After taking the food, they will inject the poison or toxin. So those are useful for protection. So how these animals protect themselves? By injecting the toxin in the body of prey. Okay, prey can be any small insects in the water, right? So for example, hydra, adamsia or sea anemone, physalia or Portuguese man of war, aurelia or jellyfish, corals, etc. So many examples are given. So any 2-3 examples you should remember belonging to phylum Coelenterata. Okay, I hope you understood this much. No doubt. We are moving to the next one, that is phylum Platyhelminthes. That is the third type where you are going to study about liver fluke. Okay, so liver fluke. Now you can see in my PPT the diagram of liver fluke. Okay, how these animals are, they're very slender, flat-like, leaf-shaped structure or strip-shaped structure is there. Okay, it looks like a leaf, right? So what we can call them as flatworms. What is the other name for this animal? Flatworm. Okay, so there are many other examples like tapeworm belong to this family, planaria, liver fluke. Okay, then so several examples are given. Okay, so most of these animals are endoparasitic. Endoparasitic means what? They are present inside the body of other animals. We cannot see them. They are inside the body and they will absorb the food. They are parasitic, so they will suck the blood or eat the food from inside. Okay, some are free living, some are found outside, some are in water, that's aquatic. Okay, how the body is equilamate and bilaterally symmetrical. Okay, that means what? The body is divided in single, there is only one imaginary axis to divide the body. That's why it is bilaterally symmetrical, right? And these are triploblastic. That means what? The body is made up of 3 germ layers. That is endoderm, ectoderm, and mesoderm. And these animals, how they are? Hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodite means what? Both male and female reproductive systems are present in the same body, same animal body. Okay, so that is about the liver fluke. Okay, and how the body is having, you have to draw this diagram and label the diagram. So you have to label the mouth. Page number 68, you can check the diagram with the labeling: mouth, genital aperture, leaf-like body, oral sucker, ventral sucker, and excretory pore. Okay, so these all parts should be labeled properly after drawing the diagram, right? And the characteristics you should, okay, 5 characteristics which I told you just now, right? Okay. Okay, students. So I hope this much is clear to you till liver fluke. Okay, fine. Thank you, students. Okay, whatever your doubts, no, ask it at the end of the lecture, because in between, if I'll clear your doubts, we should not waste the time. It's lengthy chapter, right? At the end of the lesson, I will clear your doubts, whatever doubts. Okay, just mark and keep it. Fine. Okay, fine. No doubt, it's okay, Drishti. So I hope everyone understood. You should draw the diagram and label it and practice it 3 times, because diagrams of this chapter often comes in paper. So draw and practice it very well. Next, we are moving to phylum Aschelminthus. Correct? Now, phylum Aschelminthus. Now, these animals, they are how? They are thread-like animals. Okay, they are having long thread-like body, or they are having cylindrical body. Okay, so what we can say them as roundworms. Yeah, you might have heard about roundworm, right? How the body is ribbon-like, okay, thread-like. So these animals are either free-living or endoparasites. Yes, Soham, very good. Slender and flat body. They are having slender and flat body. Okay. And these animals are free living or endoparasite. Endoparasite means what? They are sucking the food from inside the body. These animals are present inside our body. That's why they are called endoparasites. Okay. Some are free living and some are aquatic or terrestrial. Okay, so there are different species of animals. Okay, they live in different places. And how the body is again triploblastic. Yes, Shruti, you are seen in the science lab. Very good. So, I hope everyone might have seen in practical room, science practical room, the structure of this animal, roundworm. Okay, so body of these animals are triploblastic and pseudocolumate, and these animals are non-segment. They don't have any segments like earthworm, and it is covered by cuticle. Tough cuticle means what? Outer layer of the skin is very rough and tough. Okay, and these animals are unisexual. Means what? Only one sex will be there, either male or female. Okay, and these animals, examples are ascaris, that is intestinal worms. You might have heard about human beings with intestinal worms. Okay, there are worms present even inside the stomach of small babies also, ascaris. Okay, filarial worms are there. Okay, then there is loa loa, that is eye worm. Inside the eyes also worms are there. Okay, that is called loa loa. So all these belong to which phylum? Phylum Aschelminthus. Okay, sometimes the examples will be given. You have to identify the phylum. Okay, so if suppose I'm giving the example of liver fluke, which phylum it is? Phylum Platyhelminthes. Okay, then this one, what you can say, roundworm, phylum Aschelminthus. Okay, like that way also questions can come, like in match the following and all. So prepare that way too. Fine. Okay, next we are moving to phylum Annelida. Now these animals, how they are? They are very long, cylindrical and metamerically segmented. Okay, that means what? The segments are present all over the body. Okay, from the head to the toe. That means what? From the top to bottom, right? So most of these animals are free living, but some are ectoparasite. Now here ectoparasite means what? They are what you can say, they are present outside the body of the other animal. They are free living, they can be marine, they can be freshwater, they can be terrestrial, anyway. Okay, so they are triploblastic, bilaterally symmetrical. You can divide the body into equal parts, and eucolumate. Fine. Then they have setae or parapodia. Can you tell me what is meant by setae or parapodia or suckers? For what it will be? It will be used. Any of you? Okay, for motion. Very good, Saraswati. That means for locomotion, for movement, right? So for moving from one place to another, these animals use either setae or parapodia. Right? Podia means what? Feet, false feet. What you can say, yeah, like you have heard about pseudopodia, you remember in amoeba? Yes. Similarly, we are having parapodia. Okay, podia means what? False feet. Okay, which helps in locomotion or movement of the animal. Right? The suckers are there. Okay, which also helps for locomotion. Okay, the body is having special cuticle. Okay, the skin is special thick layer of skin. Okay, these animals are hermaphrodite or unisexual. If they are single sex, like either male or only female, we can call it as hermaphrodite or unisexual. Okay, so the example is earthworm. You can find male earthworm and female earthworm, right? Different. Okay, leech is there. Leech is another example. Nereis, etc. So you can look at the diagram in page number 69, where they have shown the earthworm. Earthworm is having mouth, clitellum, segment, and anus. Right? Then leech, mouth and anus. And Nereis. Nereis is also an animal belonging to phylum Annelida, which is having tentacles, mouth, parapodia, okay, anus, etc. So I hope you understood about the animals belonging to phylum Annelida. Okay, moving to next, Arthropoda. Okay, okay, students. Phylum Arthropoda. Now these animals, they are having joined appendages. Now for this, I would like to share my PPT, students. There are some pictures to show you, right? Okay, Kushi is telling I did not understand. What happened, Kushi? What you not understood? Annelida. Okay, Annelida. Annelida means what? These animals are having cylindrical body. Okay, they are long animals like earthworm. Earthworm is belonging to phylum Annelida. Okay, they can be what? Triploblastic, bilaterally symmetrical animals. They are having parapodia. They are having special cuticle. They are unisexual. Means what? Separate male and female animals are there. Okay? And they are also called as hermaphrodite. Okay, that is about the earthworm. Okay, it is very simple. Okay, just read page number 69 of your textbook. Okay, after the explanation today itself, you read the textbook. Okay, I'm going to share my PPT, students. Okay, so in the PPT you can see a butterfly, you can see cockroach. Okay, they all belongs to phylum Arthropoda. Now these animals, what is the peculiarity? They have jointed appendages, so that's why it is called arthropods. Their appendages means what? Their hands, legs and all, no, that is joined to each other. Planet Earth has highest number of the animals from this phylum. Okay, phylum Arthropoda. Hence this is largest phylum with highly successful animals in animal kingdom. Okay, many animals are there in this phylum. Okay, these animals are found in all the types of habitats, in water, on land, in air, in soil, okay, everywhere. From the deepest ocean to highest mountains, these animals belong. Okay, and these animals are triploblastic, eucoelomate, bilaterally symmetrical, and segmented. So all the characteristics are also there. Okay, and their skeleton, that means the skin is very sticky. Okay, if you'll touch the cockroach or touch the this one butterfly and check the skin, what you will find that the skin is sticky, chitinous exoskeleton. So what you call that word? Chitinous exoskeleton is present around their body. These animals are unisexual. Okay, they are unisexual means what? They are either male or either female. Example, crab, spider, scorpion, millipede, centipede, cockroach, butterfly, honeybee, etc. So many animals. If you search in internet, you will get lot of animals belonging to phylum Arthropoda. So animals which are shown in your textbook, page number 70: butterfly, scorpion, centipede, okay, cockroach. Okay, you have to draw either butterfly or cockroach and label the parts. Okay, like wings, thorax, head, antenna, legs, abdomen. Okay, you have to identify the animal, identify the phylum of this animal, and then draw and label it and explain the characteristics of this animal. So I hope you understood this phylum Arthropoda. Okay, next belonging to phylum Mollusca. Next animal is which one? Belonging to phylum Mollusca, that is octopus. You all might have heard about this animal, octopus. Okay, the body is very soft, very slimy. Okay, that's why what we call it as mollusca. Hence the name came as mollusk. Mollusk means what? Soft and slimy. Okay, the body, if you touch the body of octopus, you will find it is very soft. Okay, that's why the name came as mollusk. Mollusk means what? Soft. Okay, and it is the second largest phylum in animal kingdom. Okay, first largest was Arthropoda. Second is what? Mollusca. Okay, now these animals can be aquatic, can be terrestrial also. Okay, aquatic mollusks are marine, but few are freshwater dwellers, right? Body of these animals, how they are: triploblastic, eucoelomate, non-segmented, and soft. Okay, but there are certain animals like snail. You might have heard about snail. How the body is, we can say that it is bilaterally symmetrical. Their body is divided into three divisions like head, foot, visceral mass. Okay, lower part. Okay, so visceral mass means what? It is covered with mantle, and this mantle, what it is, what it secretes a hard calcareous shell. Shell will be there. Like I have seen the snail. Snail, what it does, it hides itself inside the shell. So that is called as visceral mass. And this shell can be externally present or internally present or even absent in some of the cases. And these animals are unisexual. Example, bivalve, snail, octopus. So these are some of the examples. Okay, so you can get more information about pearl production from bivalves if you'll collect information from the certain uh, from internet and all, you get more information about it. Fine. So next, we are moving to the next phylum, Echinodermata. Okay, now the Echinodermata example is starfish. Okay, so the diagram PPT shows the starfish. Along with starfish, there are certain other examples like sea cucumber, sea urchin. Okay, now Echinodermata is having calcareous spines in their body. That's why what is the name, why the name came echinoderms. Echinoderms means what? Spines are present. Calcareous spines. Calcareous means made up of calcium. Okay, and these animals are found only in the oceans, and they are again triploblastic, eucolumate, radially symmetrical in adult stage. However, they show bilateral symmetry in larval stage. Larval means what? The first stage. Okay, once they become adult, they will show the radial symmetry. Okay, they perform locomotion. What they are having, 2 feet are there. Okay, 2 feet means what? The small feet which help in moving from one place to another. They are useful for even capturing the prey. Okay, some animals are sedentary. Sedentary means what? They will stick to one particular place, like sponge. Okay, you have heard about sponge. Sponge is not belonging to this group. Just I give an example. Sedentary means single. They will be attached to some substratum, right? So they have skeleton made up of calcareous spines or ossicles. Ossicles means what? Plates in their body. Okay, and these animals are having good ability of regeneration. Once their body is by accidentally, if it breaks also, they can again produce the part of that body. Okay, and these animals are unisexual. Examples, as I told you, starfish, sea urchin, brittle star, sea cucumber. So many other examples also you will get. Okay. So in certain situation, what the starfish can do, they can break the body part, okay, and again regenerate. Okay, so that is a peculiarity of starfish. So you have to draw the starfish and explain it, right? So that is about the phylum Echinodermata. Next we are having Hemichordata. Okay, now this is an example of Hemichordata. This animal is called as Balanoglossus. Okay, Balanoglossus belong to phylum Hemichordata. How this animal body is divided into 3 parts: proboscis, collar, and trunk. These are the 3 parts of the body. Notochord is present in proboscis region only. Okay, that's why we called it as Hemichordata. Okay, notochord means what? I told you in the beginning of the chapter. It is a bony structure which supports the body, gives support like a bone. Okay, backbone, right? So that is present only in the proboscis region. That means what? Upper portion. So in the page number 71, label diagram is given of Balanoglossus. Look at that, proboscis is there, collar is there, and trunk. Okay, these are the 3 parts. And these animals, they are also called as acorn worms. Okay, what is the other name? Acorn worm. And they are marine animals. They live inside the burrows in the sand. Okay, they dig deep inside and live inside the sand. Okay, so they have 1 to many pharyngeal gill slits. Sometimes they are having 1 or sometimes they are having many pharyngeal gill slits for respiration. Okay, so they are unisexual or some may be hermaphrodite also. Okay, so you can say bisexual or unisexual. So Balanoglossus, Saccoglossus, these all are the various examples. Okay, now one important thing is that Balanoglossus is connecting link between chordata and non-chordates. Okay, this animal shows the characters of both the groups. Okay, that's there through. So during evolution, what happened? This animal came in between chordata and non-chordata. Okay, so they are showing the characters of non-chordata as well as chordata. Okay, now we are moving to the chordata. Okay, what is chordata? Phylum Chordata. As I told you the characters in the beginning of this lesson, not going much deep. Chordata means what? Notochord is present. Okay, pharyngeal gill slits are present, and they are having spinal cord and they are having heart also. So first we are going to learn in this group phylum Chordata, that is about Doliolum. So in the PPT you can see Doliolum, animals belonging to subphylum Urochordata. Okay, now these animals are marine animals. Their body is covered by skin-like test or tunic. Okay, they are found in sea waters. So you will most of you might not have observed this animal because they are very rare animals found inside, deep inside the sea. Larvae of these animals are freely swimming and notochord is present. That is a peculiarity. Okay, and notochord is present, but where it is present only in the tail region of larva. Okay, that's why what we call this animal, they belong to which category? Urochordata. Why Urochordata? Because they are having notochord only in the tail region of the larvae. Okay, larvae metamorphose into adults after settling down at bottom of the sea. That means what? Larvae will metamorphose into adult means what? They will slowly grow into adults. Okay, once they settle in the sea, they will grow into the adult stage. So generally these animals are hermaphrodite, herdmanine, doliolum, oikopleura. All these are the various examples. So herdmania is also shown in your page number 72, students. Look at that. Branchial aperture is there, arterial aperture is a tunic, body and foot is present. Okay, so that is about this animal. Okay, so that is about subphylum Urochordata. Okay, students. So I hope this much everyone understood. Moving to the next subphylum, Cephalochordata. Okay. Now Cephalochordata. Now these are like fish-like marine animals. Most of you have seen the fishes. Okay. So they are looking like fish. The body shape is having the almost looking like fish. Okay. So you can see in Cephalochordata with in page number 72 of a textbook, which shows that notochord is present, okay, which is a characteristic of chordata, right? Then these animals are having notochord. Pharynx is also present, okay, which is very large, right? And it contains gill slits for respiration, right? And these animals are again unisexual. Example is Amphioxus. Okay. Next we have subphylum Vertebrata. Okay, Vertebrata. What is the specialty? Again, notochord is present or absent in Vertebrata, or what is present instead of notochord? What is present, students? The name itself says they are having what? Which or special organ now? Which special part? Backbone is a vertebral column is present. Very good, Kushi, Sanskriti. Okay, vertebral column is there, right? Vertebral column. That's why they belong to phylum. Subphylum what? Vertebrata or Craniata. What we can say? Craniata. Okay. So these animals notochord is absent. Instead of notochord, now due to evolution, notochord get evolved, and what it was replaced, notochord was replaced by vertebral column. Okay, so these animals are having well developed head, like we human beings are having vertebral column. We are having well developed head, right? So well developed head means what? Brain is also present, and we can think brain is protected inside the cranium, right? Cranium is the outer protective covering of the brain, okay, which protects the brain from external shocks, right? And then endoskeleton is either cartilaginous or bony. Inside the body, there we are having bones, yes, muscles and bones. So some chordates are jawless, like you can say agnatha, whereas some are with jaws or gnathostomata. Jaws, you know, upper jaw and lower jaw, right? Where teeth are attached. So some are jawless, some don't have jaws, some are having the jaws. Okay. Now subphylum Vertebrata is divided into 6 classes. Okay. Let us learn one by one. Class Cyclostomata. Now these animals are jawless mouth provided with suckers, right? They're having suckers. They don't have jaws, right? They will suck the food, right? We are having jaws, upper jaw and lower jaw. We are having teeth. We are eating the food. But these animals, what they will do? They are jawless, so they will suck the food, right? So that's why they are having the jawless sucker, right? Now, how the skin is very soft. They are having, it is without any scale, okay? Paired appendages are absent, okay? So appendages are absent in this animals. That means what? Hands are not there, okay? And then endoskeleton is cartilaginous. Inside the body there is okay, Kushi, wait 1 second. You can ask your doubt at the end of the chapter. Okay, fine. Some students, if you want to ask the doubt, wait for some time. Let me finish the chapter, then you can ask. Okay. So during revision, we will do that. So endoskeleton is cartilaginous, and most of these animals are ectoparasites. Right. So the example is Petromyzon, myxin, all this. Right. Next is class Physis. Now for this, I will share my PPT with you students. I'm having the pic of this organism, right? Okay, so in the PPT you can see the animal belonging to class species, right? Now in class species, you know, all the fishes are involved. Okay, like in the PPT you can see a dogfish, or you can call it as Scoliodon. Okay, they are cold-blooded animals. Okay, or you can say it as poikilotherms. Poikilotherms means what? Blood is very cold, and they are aquatic animals living in marine as well as freshwater. The body, how the body shape is spindle shape structure. The spindle shape, why they are having spindle shape? So that they can minimize water resistance, because they have to swim in water. For that, the body is made up of spindle shape. Okay, they are having paired and unpaired fins. Sometimes paired fins, sometimes unpaired fins. Fins are used for swimming. Tail fin is also there. It is used as a steering organ during swimming. Steering organ means what? They can change the direction towards right, towards left. So it is a steering organ. Exoskeleton is in the form of what? Scales. Scales are present all over their body. Okay, endoskeleton is either cartilaginous or bony. So inside you can see many cartilaginous or bones are present. So respiration occurs with the help of gills. Example, rohu, pomfret, seahorse, etc. Next class, amphibia, that is a frog. All of you know how the frog is. They can live in land and water. These animals are strictly aquatic. During larval stage they are aquatic, they are in the water, and they will become adult, they can move outside. They are having two pairs of appendages. Digits are without the claws. Exoskeleton is absent. Skin is without any derivative and usually kept moist during respiration, right? And external ear is absent, but tympanum is present. Neck is absent. Eyes are prominent with eyelids. Frog, toad, salamander, etc. Next, next is about the wall lizard, which you all are aware of. Now, this belong to class Reptilia. Okay, so they are also cold-blooded animal. Their skin is very dry and scaly. Neck is present between head and trunk. External ear is present. Digits are provided with claws. Tortoise, lizard, snake, etc. Then we are having the next class, that is aves. Okay, so these example, you can say pigeon or all different types of birds like parrot, duck, peacock. They are vertebrates, completely vertebrates, but adapted to aerial life. They can fly in air. They are warm-blooded animals. Okay, they are having spindle-shaped body. Okay, because they want to fly in air. Okay, forelimbs are having modified into wings. Digits are covered with scales and bears what? Claws. Okay, and exoskeleton is present in the form of what? Feathers. Neck is present between head and trunk, and jaws are modified into beak. And the final last one is the mammalia, class Mammalia. Okay, which the Mammalia means what? Presence of mammary glands is the typical character of Mammalia. Example is bat. So in the PPT you can see a bat, warm-blooded animal. Body is divided into head, neck, trunk and tail. Digits are provided with nails, claws and hooves. Okay, so exoskeleton is in the form of hairs or fur. Example, human beings, elephant, kangaroo, dolphin, bat, etc. So these are very easy topics. You can easily learn it, learn the characteristics, right? So students, um, so I hope all the classes starting from reptilia, aves, and mammalia. These you all have already studied in your lower class. So, and you might be knowing the characters, and you have seen these animals like fishes or bat or this one, wall lizard and frog. So you can write the characteristics also. Fine. So as the time is short, so we have completed the chapter anyhow, and now it's the time to clear your doubts also, students. Let me check the time. If time is